Welcome back, League fans, to Game 2 of our Academy broadcast here today. Up next is our match between Clutch Gaming and CLG Academy. And coming into Day 4 of the Summer Split, Clutch Gaming is still searching for that so important first win.
Right, and the primary reason that Clutch isn't really finding success is that there isn't really a clear identity for this team, it feels like. Based on the comps, you would assume that clearly they're trying to play around Piglet, but we haven't seen that many hard carry performances out of this bot lane in a while. And so if Piglet isn't going to be your main carry, then Clutch needs to start showing who else is going to step up and start being this carry for this team.
And they face off against CLG Academy today, who also deferred to keep much of their roster the same, but who are finding great success with that choice so far.
Yeah, at the end of the spring split, CLG went on a tear, ending just shy of the playoffs, but it was still a 6-game winning streak. And so when you combine the start of this split, they've now increased that all the way up to 9. And a player who's done very well in those wins has been Fallen Bandit. He was really criticized for his less than stellar performances last split, but has been looking pretty good so far, but we haven't seen him on anything but Mundo. So I'm waiting to see if he can keep that kind of role going on a new champion.
Well, maybe he'll just get to pick as he
Or he gets Mundo.
Just play the Mundo game after game after game. It's very strong right now. We'll see how he can make that work or not if it gets banned away, but let's not delay any longer. Let's get into those starting lineups once again. On the blue side, it's Clutch Gaming Academy with Max Trobo in the top lane, Moon in the jungle, Sun at mid, Piglet bottom, support Vulcan, and Coach McScrag.
All right, well, which means we have Counter Logic Gaming up on the red side. In the top lane, Fallen Bandit, Jungle Wiggly, mid lane Tuesday, the autofill bot lane with Coach Exogen, Matthew Perez.
Big game for both teams. CLG Academy wants to keep that winning streak going. One more and they get double digits.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Double-digit winning streaks, always something you're proud of. If you're playing solo queue and you look at the match history, you got
All
10
green.
games straight of green.
Oh, it's not all green anymore because it's longer. Back in the day, it was only...
Oh, yeah. Back in the day, it looked really
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Because then people are like, wow, this guy never loses a game. That's the kind of guy I want.
You can't check any further back.
Yep,
I've never lost.
Don't look at the 12 red games before that. Just
Yeah.
look at the 10 green games right in front of your eyes. But right now, CLG Academy wants to keep that green streak going, and Clutch Gaming would love nothing more than to end it, find that first win here at the Summer Split.
And I think CLG Academy has done a good job of finding their groove in the meta. We talk about that Mundo pick, but some of the other stuff they're playing, like the Renekton in the mid lane, they had a game with that, before their main roster actually brought it out the same week. So obviously they're adapted pretty well to the new patch. Like we were saying before, Clutch Gaming, it feels weird for them because Piglet's so proficient on Marksman and Lucian's strong. They tried finding some Lucian comps that worked, but they kind of fell apart and they weren't doing enough in the mid game.
Well, I already like what I'm seeing from Clutch Gaming here. They ban out Mundo as their second ban. They don't want to allow Fallen Bandit onto that one. Also taking the Brand and the Zoe out of the picture. CLG's first 3 bans, the Nocturne, the Lucian, the Ornn.
Yep, a lot of tanks out of the top side, which is something we've been seeing a lot for some of these players crutching on. So without the Ornn and the Mundo up there, you basically only have Shen as one of the primary tanks, maybe the Singed, but that's a little bit of a weirder one to play. So we'll have to see if either them opt for that or they start going more for the fighters.
Clutch Gaming decides they're not concerned about fighters, they're not concerned about tanks, they're concerned about engage and support, and so Rakan, the first pick.
Yep, kind of telegraphs the Xayah pick coming up. We were saying we started seeing a lot more of that. A little bit better of a power spike now. When we saw it by double lift on 8-11 on the LCS, he actually went for some AD from some BF swords before moving into a Shiv item and then back into his later game damage. This time around, people start going Storm Razors and things like that just right off the bat.
Well, the response from CLG is going to be locking in the Irelia. We've seen plenty of this champion since Summer Split started worldwide. Very, very potent. There's so much playmaking ability in what she can do, and she's just shown herself to be a top-tier pick again and again.
Did get that slight nerf inherently from the Sterix gauge and Triforce nerfs.
Yes,
interaction.
indirect nerf.
Yeah, indirect nerf to her that we were talking about, so we'll have to see how strong she is, but you expect her to still do pretty well, most likely in the mid lane. Getting comboed up with the Camille, that's a lot of lockdown for whoever's going to be in that position for Clutch Gaming.
Bruiser City. So far, CLG Academy just putting those fighters there in the mix. They want to make sure they're able to go in and find that scrappiness that's just been so definitive of Summer so far.
Yeah, and that's, I think, what a lot of people like, seeing a lot more fights. As much as we all love some good macro play.
As much as Jin Air Green Wings is a great team,
posturing.
First blood at 37 minutes should never happen.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. No surprise, like we said, that Xayah pick moving in. The Trundle works well with it. It depends who's going to be able to build the Zeke's Harbinger, but he can build it as well and combo it with the Xayah. You want one of those on somebody, and you can kind of decide that in-game based off how it's moving. The Tahm Kench, a pretty common counter pick into Rakan. If they go in and try and engage onto your AD carry, you just snatch them right up. If they engage into you, hey, I'm Tahm Kench, and I
just press E.
I got 2 health bars.
Having a great time. Of course, you got to watch out and not stand too close to the AD carry.
Yeah.
If Rakan gets you both, then you're just a nice catfish kebab, and you don't have a very good time anymore.
Yeah, that is always the funniest thing when the Tahm Kench is too close to the marksman. They both get double charm, knock up, and you're just kind of raging at your support. But we're in pro play.
Autofill Tahm Kench.
True. I was watching Afro stream last night, and he was very heavily trying to get Afro to play. This was Otto he was dealing with. Otto was trying to get Afro to play Tahm Kench pretty aggressively. Ended up playing Xerath, I think.
That's not exactly Tahm.
No, not quite exactly Tahm Kench. It looks like he gets his wish this time. Phil will be playing that Tahm Kench.
All right, going into the second part of the bans here, you're going to see Varus and Ezreal banned out by Clutch Gaming Academy, targeting that bottom lane pool. Over on the side of CLG, big ban that stands out to me is the fact that Shen, that top laner that you were talking about still standing tall, ain't so tall anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you have your support locked in. You don't have your top laner yet, but get rid of the flexibility of Clutch where they might have been able to choose which one. Obviously, the Shen will go top side with the Rakan locked in, but that's still just take that out of the top side, play a skill matchup. Who knows what Fallen Ban wants to do. As the Kai'Sa gets locked in, most likely a bot lane one based off the other picks selected.
Kai'Sa's a very strong champion right now. I don't know if did you catch any of the LCK games? Did you watch that that Griffin versus SK2
that
game?
Quadra at like 15 minutes?
That's the stuff that keeps me up at night, Mark. A Kai'Sa with 3 support champions, a QSS, a Zhonya's, and a GA.
The one that was really crazy was the Morgana shield, because then she just ults in, and it's like, wait, I can't.
She has 4,000 health.
She has 4,000 health, and she's immune to CC, and you're like, I'll just die, I guess.
Yeah, she's just, at that point, she's just stronger than Baron, and she jumps on you. Like, what are you gonna do? We'll see if CLG can get Otto to that level of unstoppable this game, but he is gonna be up against the Swain, locked in for Clutch Gaming. They're thinking about the Aatrox here as the last solo laner as well. See if maybe they wanna lock that one in, and the answer is yes.
I'm going to be curious what CLG does here, because I don't imagine Aurelia is too fun of a pick into Swain.
Nope.
And so they might want to start flexing things around here, and they still do have the ability to, as we see the Kennen locked in. So that's going to be a marksman Kennen or a top Kennen. I was hoping it was going to be, no, it's going to be a top Kennen.
Okay.
I was going to say they have the potential to do some crazy stuff if you like put the Kennen at marksman and you put the Camille top and you can put Kai'Sa in the jungle. You can do some really crazy stuff, but that's...
Yeah, there's a lot of meme potential there, but we're not
getting there.
We're not doing any of the memes here today. Kennen top lane, notoriously one of the most pain in the butt matchups for any melee champion in top lane. Kennen is not exactly super interactive to deal with for many of them, and despite Aatrox's recent rise in popularity, it could still be a pretty rough time.
Yeah, I think, you know, Aatrox has the tools to deal with a Kennen in the sense where it's like, I have sustain built in, I have a range slow, I have a gap closer. And that all sounds good when your whole kit is online, but your first couple levels are going to be horrible because you do not have the sustain working for you yet. You don't have the range, the way to hop onto him. And so that's when Kennen builds his biggest lead, is the first couple levels where you can't get onto him. And at that point, you're now laning down half a health bar most of the time. So probably still going to be a pretty good matchup in Aatrox early on.
Getting onto the Rift for the second time today. Remember, CLG so close to having that winning streak hit those double digits, while Clutch Gaming wants to make sure that they put the L back in CLG and grab a win for themselves as well. This team needs to get on the board. Finishing with 0 wins at the end of the second week, definitely not a place you want to find yourself coming into Summer Split here. And we'll see what Clutch can manage to do up against this CLG squad, if they can make this Aatrox pick work, and how these crit marksmen are going to fare, like what we're seeing with the Xayah. Kai'Sa, of course, not really a crit marksman at all. We've seen them mostly build AP these days.
That's what I'm going to be most interested on tracking. She has the flexibility in this team comp to go either way. You have enough physical damage with the Aurelia and the Camille if you want to go AP, but you also have the Kennen, the top side, probably going to be building AP. And so you can do either as Fallen Bandit, forced to take E level 1. Not ideal, but not the end of the world either.
It's a lot more ideal than getting killed in a 4 versus 1 in the brush.
Yeah, I'll take that one instead of having my W or whatever I would normally want to take.
Yeah.
And so the Kai'Sa, with those buffs to crit, she still is going to go Ginsu's as a first item, but the question is, what do you get after that? Is it going to be Nashor still, or do maybe you go Stormrazor or something? I'll be interested to see which this Kai'Sa builds.
I also want to keep track of this mid lane here. How well does Tuesday's Irelia deal with the Swain? Because we know Swain doesn't have a lot of craziness early on. The Q cooldown is really high at early levels, kind of reminiscent of what you see from Vlad, where he doesn't become super oppressive till around 7 or 9. But once we get to that point, how well will Tuesday deal with it?
Yeah, I think that's the big question. If they can convert any kills early on, as we see the level 2 from Wiggly actually going top.
All right, Wiggly looking for Max Trobo here. He says, all right, I know Aatrox doesn't have his jump. Seeing if they can set anything up here. Wants to go for that hook shot. Does manage to land the stun. Waits for the flash wisely, predicting and getting himself where he needs to be for first blood.
Really clean play by Wiggly there, like you said, waiting to see and reacting to the flash. Gets the kill early on. We were talking about Kennen levels 1 through 3 maybe being a nuisance. Well, how about level 1 and level 2 combining on your level 1 Aatrox?
It's bad enough to go up against a lane bully champion, but when you got to go up against the lane bully with his lane buddy, it goes from bad to worse.
And Max Trobo, not much you can do here. Took E level 1, and that's about all she wrote.
We talked about how sometimes taking your mobility skill at level 1 prevents you from being dead, as opposed to taking your ideal skill.
Yeah.
Well, took the main skill.
Yeah, there was our case in point example, in case anyone wasn't clear what we were talking about with that invade. There you go.
We got that case of big brain. Know what's going on.
Why not
Wiggly's got a
gank?
case of repeat gank. Max Trobo playing safe for now. Doesn't really want to walk up any further. All you got to do is wait for the cannon. Bait him into that big, juicy 60 gold. Wiggly goes in. Max Trobo in some trouble. Does manage to get himself away this time for now. One more auto attack will do it, and Fallen Bandit once again puts that enemy top laner in the dirt. And with no TP to get back, these are a lot of minions to be losing, Mark.
Yeah, that's the painful one. Dying level 1 sucks. The Kennen got first blood that time, or the Camille did, and you gave up 300 gold. But you yourself are still relatively in the game. Dying again there and losing just about 2 waves, wave and a half.
And the cannon.
That hurts.
The cannon as well. This is one of those types of
14th.
one of those types of games where you're not feeling too good about it so far. The entire wave will find itself shot to pieces by the time Max Trobo gets back up there, and he's got an uphill battle to be waging this game.
I love Piglet's response. I'm going to buy a cull. I'm probably going to need to hard carry this game. I'm going to need a lot of gold. I'm going to get the cull.
My Aatrox has died twice in 3 minutes. I'm probably going to have a lot of the pressure this game put onto me to make that carry happen. And we mentioned that before this game even started. Clutch Gaming so far, it seems like they've been investing into Piglet. They've been saying this is where we want our win condition to come from, but it just hasn't shown up. It hasn't worked yet.
Yeah, I think it's a tough position to be in because Piglet is kind of the veteran on the team, but he's never been someone who really wants to be a leader. He's always, you know, and it's changed a little bit. He has matured more and wanted to be more of a leader, but he's just never been that type of guy. He's a lead by example kind of guy where, like, I'm going to do the work and you should model how much work I'm putting in. Not like the I'm going to pep talk and teach you about the game.
Right.
And that's, you know, kind of the position that he is in here with a bunch of young guys, Moon being the second most experienced. And he also not someone who screams leadership quality. So it's tough for this team to find an identity in exactly how they want to play.
Remember, Moon also LCS experience under his belt. Did have some very good games in the last split. Also had some more underwhelming ones, and definitely a guy who you'd like to see step up, put that LCS experience to good use, and really take advantage of that. Going up against Wiggly, though, 1-0 and 1 on the Camille. Wiggly's 2 out of 2 ganks successful so far. Moon hasn't really had the opportunity to get himself involved just yet. Vulcan takes a little bit of damage from the Tom Kench tongue as Wiggly once again deciding that Max Trobo hasn't been ganked in a while, Mark, and it's time to make sure that that does not stay true for long. Man, I feel so bad for Max Trobo.
This is a tough game.
He's never going to dance again.
And the thing is, you know, Moon is on Trundle, not a very influential champion in the early game, is good at skirmishing, but not really ganking. Camille has basically the best level 2 gank in the game, kind of a battle between her and Xin Zhao for that. And Camille gets those early kills.
Pretty good.
Jarvan's is pretty good as well. Not so much in the current meta, been there a couple times.
When Jarvan is in meta, Jarvan's level 2 gank.
Yeah, absolutely the case. And so Camille here in the jungle does red buff, runs top, kills you. And, you know, it wasn't like he was playing super aggressive in the matchup, lost his flash, and has not ceased to be punished since then.
Otto going to be gobbled up there by Phil as Clutch Gaming Academy tries to get aggressive on these guys here on the bottom side. They're saying, look, we know the enemy jungler is heavily invested into the top half of the map. They're feeling pretty safe trying to make some kind of a move close to their own turret bottom side as Moon gets himself into the river, only to see the Scuttle Crab still persisting from where Wiggly took it earlier, and he's just on ward clearing duty.
Stuck on ward clearing duty, gets that pink. That's what Trundle does. Little less impactful than the Camille right now. But they will have to keep wanting to get this pressure up because it does feel like the late game scaling probably a little bit in Clutch Gaming favor. As the game goes on, though it might take a lot longer to reach that point, ideally Max Strobo can split versus the Kennen once you get a health pool and the sustain that comes with that kit. If they stall out to 25 minutes, maybe that still takes place. Xayah, no joke in the late game. A lot of low-range threats for a Swain to become a monster threat. Kai'Sa, no joke in the late game either, but really not the front line that Clutch Gaming has.
And remember, this isn't a Kai'Sa with 3 support champions helping it.
No, no,
he
no.
won't be able to just jump into the back line and become this immortal god-tier champion. He's still going to be very strong, and Fallen Bandit also with the Hextech Revolver in inventory, indicating obviously it's AP Cannon, not some sort of AD Cannon cheese. And AP Cannon definitely a team-fighting monster in his own right, talking about how Swain can have zone control, move in towards close-range opponents. Cannon would love to have multiple people in range of that Slicing Maelstrom.
Yeah, he's definitely off to the races with that start. 20 CS lead, 1 kill, 2 assists. Already got the Revolver.
At Wiggly. He's still topside. He's still putting down pink wards in the river. He's still just making sure. Fallen Bandit, this player that we said, he's performed well in the first 3 games. He's always been on Mundo. How's he going to look on something that doesn't go where it pleases? Well, so far he's looking pretty good.
Looking really good. A lot of attention given to him. Starting to get to the point where you wonder if this is even effective at this point. You've already killed him enough. You have these level 6s. This is a free kill. Once he walks up to that wave, Kennen transports the wave in, and then Wiggly, even though the flash is back up from Max Strobo, hey, guess what? You can't get out.
Max Strobo says, nope. I'm getting the hell out of Dodge right now. Wiggly does have level 6, Fallen Bandit level 7, so 2 ultimates online. Max Strobo, no ulti to speak of, still only level 5. And remember, the thing is about Aatrox, unless he's got the Bloodwell fully charged, can't use the passive.
Nope, and is going to have a hard time charging it when he can't walk up to his minion waves. And this is what we're saying. I mean, luckily Moon's not getting a ton done, is working away on that Infernal Drake right now as well, so he's going to get a small punish off here. Losing your top turret early on in the game, tough to say that the Drake is worth it.
At the same time, though, this might be the little bit of relief that Max Strobo needs personally. Just let that wave push up, try to freeze it closer to the tier 2, get some farming opportunity. But that does open up Fallen Bandit's chances to roam around. Max Strobo be jumped on here by Wiggly. Hextech Ultimatum not going to be used immediately. Max Strobo escapes with his life this time around, but it will be Infernal Drake traded away for that first turret. Sun now trying to get himself away from Tuesday. He will be disarmed, forced to flash out from this one. Ignite dropped down by the CLG Academy mid laner.
Whoa.
Wiggly wants to go in on this, but a good stopwatch keeps Sun alive. Remember, he's already flashed, so he can't go after Wiggly to try to finish him off with the Demon Flare. Does land a little bit of damage with that Vision of Empire, but Wiggly lives to see another day this time.
Yeah, really well played by Sun there. Had to flash early, unfortunately. He knew Wiggly was collapsing in from the top side, which is why he flashed so quickly. And then the stopwatch being the final thing to keep him alive. And like you said, if he still had some way of getting back on top of him, could have reactivated his ultimate to probably get that kill, but not the case.
Not this day. Not this time around. Tuesday also with the Sheen on the Irelia. Considering the fact that you can spam Blade Surge on minion after minion, no AoE doesn't necessarily mean no wave clear on a champion like that.
Yeah, especially early in the game when you're in a one-on-one. Wave clears whatever you need it to be. Later on in the game, not
Later
so
on in
much.
the game, it's not going to be the same story being told if it's 5 versus 5, and every time you walk up, it's Swain Lightning and Xayah Feathers flying your way, but he won't have to worry about that for at least a little while longer. Clutch Gaming Academy up almost 3,000 gold 10 minutes into this game, and it's all built off that top lane lead, 81 to 37
Oh,
CS.
yikes.
Look at the gold on Max Strobo. It's barely ahead of the enemy support. Tom Kench is within 25 gold of Aatrox.
That's a yikes.
That's 1 minion.
That's a big yikes. That's 2K in the top side alone. And that's going to get converted pretty quickly, probably in some bot lane plays. They have a really good comp for diving bottom. If they can ever get any priority, they have been getting pushed in the entire time, but they've kind of been the case because they know Wiggly is topside. So Clutch Gaming and Piglet can just play as far forward as they want in the lane and keep trying to pressure. And Otto has just been kind of content to sit back and farm up. Wiggly's still pressuring this top side. I guess there's a Rift Herald up there if you still want to take that, but eventually you're going to run out of value to keep punishing this top side.
See the jungle farm, even though we've seen Wiggly doing so much hanging around top, his farm isn't exactly falling behind either. It's 58 to 66, so 2 camps that Moon has managed to secure over him, with the Drake counting as one of those. So for how much he's invested into this top side, he really hasn't lost out on that much opportunity elsewhere. Tuesday utilizing the power of those blades to keep himself strong against the burst potential that could otherwise come out from Sun. Fallen Bandit thinking, hey, maybe this is our opportunity to make something happen here in the mid lane. Moon going to be showing up now as well. Slicing Maelstrom comes in, going to be able to find the Sun onto 2 different members. Hextech Ultimatum going to do the job right now as Moon might make it a 2-for-1. Free money going the way of Clutch Gaming Academy. However, CLG does lose 1 with Wiggly giving over that death. Clutch Gaming loses both their celestial bodies, though, trying to keep that mid laner alive. Moon wanted to keep his boy in the game, keep him protected, not let this dive go through, but in the end, it's a tragic situation when Kennon's that far ahead.
Yeah, just a little too late there. If Vulcan could have gotten in range just a slight second earlier, it felt like they knew the dive was coming. They start rotating up right away. Sun is obviously hugging to his strong side, but there's just too much dive available, and without him having his flash, he's just an easy target. And then Moon also barely not able to get out, and then Vulcan shows up just slightly too late. They had a good read on the play coming, but sometimes it's just a game of inches, and that time, Vulcan could not get there in time.
CLG Academy doing good so far, bringing Otto back down into the bottom lane to keep the farm up. He is falling a little bit behind his opponent. Piglet does go for the Stormrazor build on the Xayah. This is not what we saw from Double Lift in the LCS, going for the pure crit, BF swords into Zeal Evolution, back into Infinity Edge like you were talking about, but instead just wants to go for that single item power spike with just the one that does a bit of everything on that Stormrazor.
Yep, and what we saw, I think, in the LCK was after the Stormrazor, they went rapid fire cannon or another Zeal item before moving into IE or something like that. We'll have to see what he chooses to go. There's a lot of different builds. And most critically, I want to see what Otto builds, but I don't know if we're going to get there in this game if CLG keeps playing this aggressive.
Right, Otto working obviously on the Rage Blade, which is always a huge Kai'Sa item. That's pretty much going to be built all the time, so that doesn't really explain what we're going to see afterwards. We're expecting the Nashor's Tooth into Deathcap AP type of build that comes out a lot, but see exactly how that goes. You can see Tuesday still working on getting that Trinity Force completed here as well. Wiggly working on his own Trinity Force, having a much better game on the Camille than from what we saw in the first match of the day. Cloud9 versus Golden Guardians. That Camille wasn't having nearly as fun of a time as Wiggly's been doing so far.
Nope, didn't quite get that level 2 snowball into permacamp topside. And once again, another objective taken on the top side. And like you said, Otto is the one who's kind of sacrificing for his team here, but this is good to see. I think this is the kind of thing that sometimes is lacking in academy play is when I'm the one who's not getting the resources, I have to play on my back foot the entire time, and it's not very fun. No. But it's how professional competitive League of Legends works. There's an opportunity cost for everything that you do, and for snowballing their top side in such a heavy way, the Kai'Sa does lose her turret first, does fall about 20 CS behind, but is going to have a much stronger top laner to help her front line in fights later.
It's one of the differences between competitive play and solo queue, Mark. In competitive play, sometimes you get told, hey, we need you to bite the bullet this time and take a step back, just play defensively. In solo queue, you spam ping and complain until your pinger doesn't work anymore, and you say, hey, I need help. Why ignore my lane?
And to be fair to people in solo queue, that's not necessarily the wrong way to go about it. You're not on a team with this guy who you play with every day saying, hey bro, it's fine. It's random guy I met 2 minutes ago who I don't trust your Fiora. So
But
I'm not
gonna gank for that. And then the question mark things come out. Fallen Bandit looking to go in on this one, has to activate the slicing Maelstrom defensively. When the Rakan comes back in, he's gonna be stunned up. It's a full-on fight. Max Strobo going into the CLG Academy lines. He does have the revive available this time around. Clutch Gaming trying to kite this one out, trying to make it work. Sun's able to grab the kill onto 1. It would have been a trade, but Max Probo's passive does the job, and Clutch Gaming Academy come out on top.
Fallen Bandit looking a little bit like that Fiora we were just talking about. Random in solo queue, getting caught out of position. He was the one given the monster lead, and he kind of started that fight out pretty poorly. Was not able to get his ultimate onto multiple backline members of Clutch Gaming. Was forced to have a lot of the defensive tool used on him. Tom Kench was eating him out to protect him. And hold on here, Max Strobo, buddy.
CLG Academy bringing 4 people in towards this tier 2 to make sure they can secure this objective. They knew that Clutch Gaming was going for the Drake, so they say, fine, we're going to do what we did last time. Drake for top lane turret.
Yep, not a bad trade, all things considered, after the fight did not go in their favor. And here we'll see once again, Fallen Bandit wants to go in here. They have Shelly, who probably would have been fine taking the turret by herself, but everyone's pumped up, so he tries to go in, then gets rooted, pulled back, chain CC'd, almost going to die right away. And this whole time, not onto Piglet, not really providing any backline threat, and then no one's able to focus these members down. Tuesday gets a little bit too far out of position, goes down. Fallen Bandit's able to stay alive, but like we said, off the back of Phil doing a lot of work to keep him up.
I really do enjoy the instant reaction of popping the ultimate to make sure they couldn't dogpile onto him from Fallen Bandit, though. I'm pretty sure that's what saved him from going down there, so nice to see him recognize just how bad of a spot he was in, pop that defensively instead of trying to be greedier with it, maybe save it to make some sort of a hero play afterwards. CLG Academy now still up 3,500 gold, still up 3 turrets compared to 1, but Clutch Gaming is not going down without a fight. Aatrox is now a comfortable 400 gold ahead of Tom Kench.
Ayo!
So Max Trobo will not go gently into that good night. He is going to make sure that he is relevant in these fights. And as we saw, as long as the passive is available, he can still get involved.
Yeah, I mean, he jumped in there, he pressed R, Q, E, autoed a couple times, and he provided a front line, whereas Kennen kind of did the same thing, but was caught out of position. Continuing to play around the Kennen here, everyone comes up with him, start trading out some turrets as Clutch was not quite in a position to do so. Like we said, Kennen's still 3,000 gold up. That was a bad team fight from him, but he can easily take over a team fight later if he actually gets the Flash Hextech Pro Belt on top of Piglet.
And the big thing for this Kennen as well, look at what's sitting in his inventory. He's got the Arm Guard, he's got the Fiendish Codex. He's getting close to having the Zhonya's Hourglass, which is one of those items that completely changes the landscape for what Kennen can do in a team fight. No longer worried about, oh, do they burst me down before I get the stun? Go in, press Zhonya's, do whatever you want to do in that team fight. So that will be a huge moment for this CLG Academy team and should be a pretty big green light for when they fight.
Yeah, and as much as we're kind of memeing Fallen Bandit's last team fight, like he actually was doing very intelligent things, so the execution might have been off. He, with that lead that was given to him by Wiggly and their tag team up on the top side, started moving mid and tried to rotate his advantage around to the rest of the map. They got one good dive off, that one not so much, but then once again, after he pushes the bot wave, he goes up into the jungle and drops a ton of wards and clears out vision on the side of Clutch Gaming Academy. So he is doing a good job converting his lead elsewhere around the map. He definitely deserves credit for that. Just gonna need to see him continue to play well in these team fights.
Zhonya's now completed, by the way, onto Fallen Bandit. Has that one ready for the next fight. You can see the Zhonya's being worked on by Sun here as well. He has the stopwatch, but he used it previously, remember, trying to survive one of the earlier attempts on his life. So he won't have that big team fight playmaking potential available for a little while longer. You do have the Zeke's convergence completed onto Vulcan. We were talking about that a bit in the draft. With that now online, that's another big element to introduce into these 5 versus 5 fights to add more damage to the side of Clutch Game.
And Kai'Sa going with the stinger.
All right.
Looks like it's AP Kai'Sa still.
Nashor's Tooth will be the next choice for her. Once that comes online, of course, bringing both attack speed and AP into the mix. Remember, it's also important for Kai'Sa to hit those breakpoints on the different stats to make sure she gets the ability evolutions. One that's ever so important is the cloaking effect on her E to make it so as she preps that attack speed, she has a way to drop aggro as well. Fires off the Void Seeker, only finds a little bit of damage down onto Moon. And everybody backs away from this one. Remember, Baron's going to be live here in 15 seconds. So once he enters the mix, that could change how teams want to play when the threat of him being taken as a prize in a fight becomes real.
Absolutely. One of the things that's worth noting, though, is Clutch Gaming does have 2 Drakes right now. A second Infernal is spawning in 2 minutes. So while they are in a pretty tough spot, down 5,000 gold in a shutdown top laner, if they can find the next Drake and be up 2 Infernal Dragons, they actually start having a pretty scary scaling threat. If they can steal it, flash over the wall, if they can win a fight near the dragon, there's a lot of ways that they can hopefully continue to stall this game out, get some core items on their threats on the Xayah and Swain, and then just have this innate advantage built in from the Infernals.
I mean, you already talked earlier about how, yeah, obviously CLG Academy's comp has scaling on it, but you said you would give the edge to Clutch Gaming if it went to the late. A slight edge with 2 or 3 Infernals becomes a pretty significant edge later on if they can continue securing those neutral objectives, but I don't know. I don't see CLG just quietly allowing them to have the Infernals and say, all right, we don't really care that much. Sure, take it.
It's on Moon. Like I said, I started it off suggesting a flash steal. That seems much more likely than just a straight 5v5 that works in their favor. But hey, maybe they can find a pick off beforehand. You have the Rakan. If they're being a little lax with CLG, trying to get mid priority, and Otto walks too far forward, flash recon engage, pick him off. Much easier to win a 5v4 around the Drake than a 5v5.
Also want to point out, because I was talking so much about Zonias and hourglasses and stopwatches and all this other stuff earlier, there is a stopwatch on the side of the Tahm Kench. Phil has that for a one-time get-out-of-jail-free card if he has to go all the way in to save somebody. So we'll see if that ends up needing to be used on the side of CLG Academy. Up 5,000 gold, 20 seconds till Infernal Drake. They have to feel pretty thoroughly in control of this game right about now. You can see even the wards they're placing down in the enemy jungle on that bottom side around the red buff. They want to make sure that if Clutch Gaming come to contest this, they're very aware of where they're coming in from. Wiggly wants to go in. It's deja vu of the beginning of the game all over again. Max Trobo trying to fight back. Gonna have that passive pop though. He'll try to revive and make something happen, but he's immediately stunned back up. He brings his opponent low as Clutch Gaming Academy now brings their other 4 members onto the Baron. There comes your catch potential. It's Tuesday in some trouble, gonna be throwing out the ultimate, but here comes your wombo combo. Fallen Bandit finds the ultimate onto all 4 members. Sun having to get himself away. Pop the Swain ulti, trying to stay alive, sets off the Demon Flare. Otto still looking to find a little bit more damage. It's a double kill for Fallen Bandit. The Moon tries to escape, but can he do it? Yes, he will today. He only loses his other half this time, will not join him in the grave, but it's 3 dead on the side of Clutch Gaming Academy, only 1 dead for CLG.
And it was such a close fight, actually. It looked like it was going to all go to shambles for Clutch Gaming as the Aurelia ult came in, comboed with the Kennen ult, but then Piglet was relatively untouched during all that. It was actually able to put out a ton of damage, got a lot of the members of CLG Academy low, but couldn't find a kill. And with that, CLG are going to start the Drake up.
Piglet tries to come in here, scare these guys away. Remember, there's no smite available on the side of CLG. Piglet could get this! Good lord! He actually just walked up and took it. He just said, no, go away.
All right, we'll find our way back to that point. First, this is an interesting attempt onto Max Trobo. There's so much vision control focus on the top side by CLG. It actually baited Clutch Gaming into answering it the same way. And then they flip down to the bot side and pick off Max Trobo. This forces Clutch to feel like they have to start this Baron out and take a fight. And they jump onto Tuesday first. And then this is the combo that looks like it's going to go terribly, but Piglet's ultimate, though he shoots it backwards, stayed out of all the damage. So not the perfect ult, but much better than being late with it. So unfortunately, he couldn't get his mouse in the right position, but like I said, much better to press the button than not. And with that, he's able to stay alive in this fight. Had the flash available, maybe could have gone in, but was important not to get baited out as Wiggly gets out. Doesn't get baited by the Tahm Kench. He had Devour in for whoever he flashed in on. So really good restraint out of Piglet, where sometimes it feels like he's lacking that, as Sun getting a little caught out of position.
Finding himself caught out by Tuesday. When Fallen Bandit joins the party, things could go sour very quickly. TP coming in from Max Trobo. Shows up only in time to be late to the party. Wiggly's here as well. Max Trobo, no passive. And he just ends up delivering a cool 300 gold into the pockets of CLG Academy. Wiggly now going to be in some trouble, has to go unstoppable, issue the ultimatum just to buy a little bit of time. Fallen Bandit wants to go into the middle of the mix right here, right now. CLG Academy still making this fight go their way as Moon gets 1 more hit down to Fallen Bandit, able to grab that shutdown. But Tuesday will cut him to ribbons, and CLGA finds their ace.
And that's one of the things about having so many damage threat comps is even though you can lose your top and your jungler, you still have that Kai'Sa unfocused the entire fight. She's able to remain untouched, finish at full health, and with that, likely able to secure the Baron for her team. And man, I was popping off about how Clutch Gaming was doing so many things well. They got the second Infernal Drake because Piglet was left alive. He can pull his feathers back to execute and finish it off. And then just both solo laners making a series of bad decisions to bait their entire team, like you said, into that ace, and the Baron goes down afterwards. Tragic.
First death of the game there for Fallen Bandit, by the way.
Yeah, and a pretty worth one, all things considered. I mean, Sun really out of position, doesn't have any soul fragments set up, doesn't have his ult. There's no way he's going to be able to 2v1 that, and Max Turbo doesn't cancel his ult, so CLG's like, hey, another free kill.
All right, kill this
why
guy
not?
too.
And this is actually smart by Clutch. The only way you stop them from taking Baron is doing a play like this, trying to face check them, and they are actually able to take the smite out relatively early, but Piglet is not actually able to get out of here, and even though he flashes out, the chase down by the Aurelia still available, gets that kill, and then also the Kai'Sa untouched as well for the most part. And that's all you need to take off that Baron. I like the idea by Piglet there and Vulcan saying, all right, we just lost our 2 solo laners. It's going to be pretty hard to stop a Baron if we don't pick the fight ourselves. Yeah, so they step forward, they try and do it, fall just short, and with that, the 10,000 gold lead, just about 7,000, will be tough now for Clutch to come back, even with that double Infernal advantage.
Important to note that when Baron was taken, Wiggly had 2 seconds left on Death Timer, Fallen Bandit had 10. neither one of those players does have the Baron buff active on them, so Fallen Bandit can't create a Baron split push situation. Tuesday, however, still more than capable of making that happen. Lily's saying, come gobble me up, you Tom Kench. Get me out of here. He'll be safe, trying to steal away those Raptors. Fallen Bandit, he doesn't even need Baron. He's like, I've just been sitting split pushing the whole time anyway. This is just fine.
You think I need this to beat the 0-5 Aatrox? Really?
Yeah, I haven't beaten this guy all game.
Yeah. It's understandable that they didn't pause for 2 seconds. It's very scary anytime you're going for Smite, as once again, Sun getting a little forced out there.
That's a big cooldown to have to use like that, though. Without that available, CLG's got to feel much more comfortable forcing any kind of a fight, knowing that if they go in, Swain's just an old man walking around with one good hand now.
Yeah, it's a lot more comfortable to dive when you don't have to worry about that. Still has the Zonias, though, so maybe it can bait a dive. But once again, like we were saying, understandable to not pause the Baron when your Smite's not up. You can't secure it, and it can die to any random damage. So no surprise they didn't wait 2 seconds for Wiggly. Maybe they could have done it. Maybe they should have waited the 2 seconds. But anytime you don't have your Smite available, I get it.
The Missile Voyage comes in. Phil brings in Tuesday. CLG Academy, 5 men strong here in the bottom lane, going after the tier 2. Wiggly takes a bit more damage than he would have liked to see, but they get what they came for. The turret advantage is 5-1. The gold lead, nearly 10,000. This is a hard spot to beat.
This is a tough spot to be in for Clutch. Another Infernal Dragon coming in a minute and a half. Who knows what wacky, unpredictable way they secure that one.
Wacky wild play.
Yeah, I mean, I did not think an 80 carry walking up 1v3 would have got the Drake, but it did.
To be fair, he walked up pretty menacingly. He had the feathers swirling around him. He was throwing that stuff all over the place. But CLG Academy, if you weren't up far enough earlier to not let your opponents anywhere near the Drake, now you definitely are. There should be no excuse for Clutch Gaming even looking at that side of the map.
Yeah, absolutely not. They should get this Drake. That should neutralize some of the advantage that Clutch Gaming has right now, and then they continue to snowball this game. No inhibitors down, and we were talking last game about how that is the scary part for a team comp like this, but they do have a marksman who will be a lot better at taking the turrets than a Vladimir would. When C9 had that, Kaisa will do a much better job. Fallen Bandit on the Kennen, a split pushing range champion, will do a much better job on taking inhibitors. So while they didn't get any with this Baron buff, if the game does make it to another Baron, they have a lot better tools.
CGA moving around in their own jungle, trying to clear out some of these wards. I mentioned earlier how CLG was the one putting wards down in the enemy jungle, making sure they had an eye on those Clutch Gaming rotations as these objectives came up. They're going to continue doing that as time goes on, but Clutch Gaming will do everything they can to clear those out, smacking down 3 or 4 of them just as they get placed by CLG. But as long as CLG can get the Drake, they don't really care about the wards. They'll burn this one down rapidly enough to make it so nobody can get in there and contest it. That will be their first Drake of the game, taken down 6 seconds too late to spawn another Elemental Drake. So from here on out, Mark, it's Elder. Yeah, if the game lasts that long.
If the game lasts that long, it's been a while since I've seen the Elder Dragon. Old Grandpa not showing up too much more.
Old Grampy Drake.
Yeah.
Sitting on his porch telling the kids to get the hell off his lawn. Clint Eastwood Drake.
Clint Eastwood Drake.
He's the best.
He is the sassiest. I mean, he's the hardest to kill.
Well, if it's up to CLG Academy, the game won't last that long. Clutch will try to dig in their heels and see if they can hold out against this incredible lead that CLG have built for themselves. There's one tier 2 left standing on the side of Clutch Gaming. We'll see how well they can protect it. It's still standing with about 3/4 HP. And Baron off the table means that there isn't that extra pushing power for CLG for a while. Baron, you can see, just now showing up there at the top of the screen, respawning in 2 minutes.
Most critically for Clutch Gaming, though, is the fact that Piglet is completely online. He's sitting at 3 items, 50 CS up, basically over the next closest person on the side of the CLG. So Piglet has his 3-item power spike, will continue to build items. And the fact that we're talking about how Clutch Gaming, or CLG, excuse me, doesn't really have any tanks, everyone should be scared of this Xayah. And the fact that she is a champion with a fair amount of outplay potential with her ultimate, if you're ever not clean on your engage, she can rip through you in a team fight.
And if we're saying Piglet is the hero of Clutch Gaming, the hero of CLG, definitely Fallen Bandit on this Ken in the top lane. And when the game started, you could definitely attribute how far ahead he was and how well he was doing to the efforts of his jungler. Wiggly gave him a lot of help. He gave him a lot of attention. He set him up for success. And when you look back now, he's still having a fantastic time. He is 100% kill participation. He died 1 time, and that death got his team the biggest objective on the map. We asked at the beginning of this game, Mark, can he perform on something other than Mundo? If it's still purple, he's still good at it.
Ban all purple champions. Morgana.
They all gotta go.
It is a great performance out of him, like you're saying. Ended that laning phase like 2-0-2 or 3-0-2 or something, and since then has continued to rack up the kills for his team, making a lot of great flank plays and still on the hunt with that sweepers, trying to find the angle onto anyone farming the side wave with the Kai'Sa. He can apply the plasma stack to her to get the cleanup kill. Max Strobo in trouble.
Here we go. Max Strobo decides to go back in and try to force the fight. He does a lot of damage down to that little Yordle.
Whoa.
That's a lot of damage. Fallen Bandit trying to get away. The vision of Empire would have got him. But the blast out to survive. Here comes your Rakan, able to find the initiation onto 2. Phil trying to protect that AD carry, but it will not work. Auto goes down. Phil's going to join him here in a moment. And that play favors Clutch Gaming Academy, CLG. Bite off more than they can chew. They lose 2, nearly 3. And for the first time in 20 minutes, Clutch feels like they're in the driver's seat.
And that's what we're kind of talking about, where eventually Aatrox does kind of get to this outscale mode that he will have over the Kennen, where while Kennen has a very bursty AoE teamfight build, not the best for a sustained 1v1. And even though they had the Kai'Sa to help out, Max Strobo almost traded by himself. And that put the entire team of CLG on the back foot, on the defensive, and it allowed the rest of the members of Clutch Game to find those kills. And with that, they're actually going to start the Baron off.
Remember, Fallen Bandit has no slicing Maelstrom to run in and try to make something crazy happen here. These 3 members of CLGA will not be able to stop this attempt from Clutch Gaming. And now, on the back foot the whole game, Clutch Gaming Academy, off of an audacious play from CLG that they capitalize on, will find the Baron.
Let's take a look at this. Fallen Bandit, like we said, starting things off. But it takes a while for Auto to actually get in this fight. Combined with the knockup that happens, a couple auto attacks, and I'm pretty sure he already had his Ginsu's maybe stacked up off the wave, so he's able to get a lot of those double hits in and a ton of damage onto Fallen Bandit, who's now in full retreat mode and can't support his bot lane that helped him get that kill. And even though Vulcan was pretty far ahead of the rest of the team, he just had to lock them down to get them in range. Kind of a questionable Zhonya stopwatch there.
And we mentioned this. What happens when Rakan goes onto the carry and Tahm Kench is right next to him? You just get the 2-for-1 special. Kench can't immediately save his AD carry then because he's caught in the same CC chain.
Yeah, and even if he did pick him up and run him out, you know, where are they going? The rest of CLG was nowhere nearby. The Kennen was in full retreat mode. And now, Clutch with this Baron can start closing this gold lead down. There's so much standing gold on the map for them. They only have 1 turret at this point.
Max Strobo getting caught out. This could be a very dire situation for the side of Gaming, as Fallen Bandit going to be potentially in some trouble here. Does activate the Zhonya's. Max Strobo is going to go down first. Piglet trying to get himself away. Feathers fly, keeps himself safe, gets back into the safety of his own jungle. Auto drops. Piglet looking to outplay Tuesday here, but Tuesday takes him down, and now he'll hunt after Vulcan as well. Slaps him down before he gets his way over to the Blast Cone. It's a 3 versus 2. Sun's still alive. Moon's still alive. Not for long. It's a triple for Tuesday, and he's looking to make it number 4. Sun will fight back as hard as he can. The Guardian Angel still on the Irelia. The Lightning will proc that one. Phil's still going after him, just strutting along there. Wants to give him one more solid lick, and there it goes. Zhonya's Hourglass will only delay the inevitable, and the ace for CLG Academy, the Baron buff, is wiped from the board.
They wiped the Baron buff off every member of Clutch Gaming. No minion waves really in a good spot to get pushing and actually grab any objectives, but it's pretty critical for stopping that gold swing that we were talking about. Felt like was inevitable. Taking a look at this, Max Strobo cutting through the jungle, and you're gonna see actually a nasty interrupt by Vulcan to stop the ultimate from coming in from Fallen Bandit for a little while. Gets the charm, then the knockup, but Piglet was not in range to DPS him down during that time, and then that puts him in an awkward spot where he's getting cut off by Wiggly. Probably goes a little too aggressive with his flash on the Fallen Bandit. He was probably going to drop either way, and now he does not have his mobility available to get Tuesday off of him. And so just barely does Tuesday kill him before the second knockup by Vulcan comes in. Killing Piglet was the only reason they were able to win this fight, because otherwise Sun and Piglet cleaned this up.
But instead, it's Tuesday who's got the mop and bucket at the ready and takes everybody else out of the picture. By the way,
Clint Eastwood!
Clint Eastwood's here, Dirty Harry drink, ready to try to ask these punks to make his day, and CLG Academy seems happy to oblige. Clutch Gaming want to interrupt this, but when the Drake goes down that fast, there's just no way in there. The buff, not as strong as it could be. Remember, only 1 elemental Drake under the belts of CLGA. But considering you've still now got yet another combat advantage in the fights that would honestly go your way most of the time anyway, real scary.
Yeah, and that Baron buff timer, not really counting anything down. All the Barons are gone already.
Yep.
So there's no combat power on the side of Clutch Gaming that you might have had otherwise if it was a Baron versus Elder, you know, buff
yeah.
battle.
Battle of the Titan.
Yeah, you sometimes see that where one team gets Baron, one team gets Elder. Who wins in a fight? Not the case.
Turns out the team that still has their buffs is probably going to do pretty good.
Yeah, there was no Baron. Would have timed out by now. Anyways, and this Siege, still a little difficult for them. Because with that cowl that Max Trobo has picked up now, despite the 8-2 and 8 cannon, I'm not sure he really wants a piece of him ever.
Yeah, remember Max Trobo 0 and 7, but in a spot where he's a very capable 1 versus 1 split pusher. Kennen doesn't want to go up against him anymore. Despite being 8 and 2 versus 0 and 7, it doesn't matter as long as you've got the itemization, and the Aatrox is getting there. Mid lane tier 2, going to be under some pressure. Moon getting jumped on. Hextech Ultimatum going to be issued Tuesday in September. Remember, no Guardian Angel going to be taken down. Fallen Bandit in the back lines, looking to grab the damage down onto Biglet instead. He won't quite find it. Forced to use the zone. Use Max Trobo tearing through the CLG lines. Elder or not, it's Clutch Gaming Academy coming out on top.
Man, Clutch Gaming able to protect Piglet long enough there to keep him alive, do enough damage that by the time they finally finish him off, Max Trobo has collapsed on a shattered CLG. Oh, another fight that just they go too deep on, and we talk about Piglet able to kite that out. He did get the disarm, and I thought he was going to drop, but Vulcan has been doing a fantastic job this entire game, finding people, protecting his carries, while also getting CC down. And then, yeah, like you said, despite being 0-2 before that fight, it's still a pretty strong Aatrox. And so you'll see while they start things off on the Moon, you're going to watch the Tuesday try and redirect onto Piglet, who kites out, gets disarmed through here, and that's when Fallen Bandit tries to go in. But Piglet's able to be kept alive. He has his Merc Scimitar as well. And Otto has to go so deep just to find that kill that puts him in range for Max Trobo to be the one finishing him off. A bit of a split focus there. You really can't bother to engage onto Moon like that. While he was kind of far forward, maybe if they didn't dive and they just focused Moon down, it would have been fine. But the split focus really killed them there because half the people were diving onto Piglet, half the people were dealing with this Moon that they should have been killing. And as a result, they lose that fight.
Yep, the lack of coordination can be a deadly, deadly thing to have when the game is at a point that it's at. Even though it seemed like CLG is just so far ahead for so long, still even, sitting on 7,500 gold lead. Clutch Gaming can win fights. They've shown us that they can win fights. And going back to what you were talking about with Piglet, this guy's 5.5 items.
Yeah.
Once he evolves that BF sword into whatever it is he's going to turn that into, he's 6 items. He's full build. This is not someone you can underestimate and just say, oh yeah, we've been ahead for the whole game, let's just run them over again.
Yeah, I mean, even when you hit 3 items, we were already talking about that a little bit. In that last fight, like, it is tempting for CLG's comp, right, to just dive in. You have Camille, Aurelia, Kennen, just dive.
Even Kaisa, an 80 carry that can dive.
Yeah, and so it can be really tempting. And I think either one of those plans could have worked if they just did that one. Moon, very far forward in the rest of his team. It would have been hard for Piglet to walk up and find a target to hit, and then your Kaisa can just kind of free hit on that Trundle with the Kennen and maybe kill him just those two. But as soon as you dive onto Piglet, now he has a target to hit. And you've already blown a lot of resources onto the Kennen, or onto the Trundle, excuse me. So, yeah, just one of those fights where there's a conflict of ideas. They didn't commit to either, and now this game feels like it's starting to slip away.
It feels like it could go either way at this point, when earlier it was Clutch Gaming just trying to survive. CLG recognizing that fact, playing more cautiously. You can see they're not comfortable just running at their opponents anymore.
Yeah, I think a big part of that comes down to the fact that they aren't guaranteed map pressure quite like they were before. They had a 10K gold lead. They were smashing everybody. The Kennen was a monster. Hold on, Wiggly's going in.
They decide it's time to go in. Piglet going to be caught out. Hextech Ultimatum has to be used. More damage coming through. Otto goes into the back line, only to be killed immediately. Tuesday still trying to find those value targets as Fallen Bandit unleashes the Maelstrom. Moon
Piglet
and Sun
can't get over the wall.
Still trying to fight. Piglet's isolated over the wall. Can't get his way back into the mix. But it's still going to be a win for Clutch Gaming Academy. A double kill for Sun. 4 dead on the side of CLG, only Wiggly alive. He'll try to cut the waves, but Clutch Gaming Academy still has mid laner, jungler, and ever so importantly marked AD carry alive to keep this push going.
Maybe most importantly, they have a cannon creep, so they're going to be able to ride that one all the way into the base with only Wiggly left alive and 20 seconds till Otto. I'm not sure that this base will stay up long enough for the respawns to come in.
You just have Moon face tank everything. Again, it's the minions that are the VIP. Moon's job is to make sure that those don't go down to keep the backdoor protection up. Wiggly's job, assassinate those minions. You've got to try to get rid of them. You've got to empower the turrets, but it's just not going to happen. I can hardly believe it, but CLG Academy have found themselves with an exposed Nexus. Piglet does fall. Otto may still be able to save this game. Moon puts a lot of damage. Down onto the Nexus, but not enough. Otto will save the day. Barely. What in the hell is going on right now?
Hey, you're still going, Cabin Flowers. There's TP.
We're still going. There's a TP. Otto's making his way into the base. Now, a base that was under pressure is being answered by a base under pressure.
Oh,
a
he's
TP tries to make its way into the base. Instead, it's going to be stopped. Max Trobo trying to defend. Falcon's going to be able to knock that 80 carry up into the air. The Zonias come through. Fallen Bandit still looking to lock these guys down. The shutdown comes out. Max Trobo will manage to save this game.
Here comes
for now.
The Tom Kench and Tuesday. They're also going to come and try and join this mix. Can Raid Boss Max Trobo keep it up?
Max Trobo has to try to make this one work. He's going to be stunned up, brought down before he gets enough blood in the well for the passive to proc. Phil will strut up to the Nexus turret. CLG Academy, only Rakan standing in their way, will go after the Nexus. They drop it so low, and I thought we were going to see a ridiculous comeback, but instead, we get an even more ridiculous response to the comeback, and the CLG win streak extends to 10.
That happened exactly like I thought it would.
You totally
I knew
that
CLG
entire
was going to
thing,
win.
I'm sure.
As soon as I saw the snowball topside, I was like, that's how they're going to win the game.
All right, let's take one more look at this. I want to immediately jump into a replay to see how this whole thing went down.
All right, I don't hate the idea of trying to end the game here. It did feel like that would have been an option, but Piglet kind of starts getting messed up here, and they chase the kill a little bit. Piglet could have been on the turret the entire time. Maybe if he got a couple more autos in here. Look at this damage. Boom! Just swatted that bird out of the air. Otto huge in keeping their turret up alive. And then with that, channels the TP top, wants to hard commit to the split push. Max Trobo, not decisive enough, starts channeling his TP back into base before ultimately choosing not to. Maybe he could have tried the backdoor, but the Aurelia was there, chooses not to, as a little telegraph, and decides to try and defend the base. And it honestly kind of works out with Vulcan. Vulcan being able to kick things off. They force the stopwatch out of Otto, and they get the kill onto him right away. And then Fallen Bandit, if they could have maybe killed him off, it would have been fine, but this gives him enough time for his ultimate to come back up, and then he can re-engage with the Aurelia, who kicks things off. That allows them to lock down, like we said, Raid Boss Max Trobo. Once he's dead, there's just nothing for Vulcan to be able to do. Maybe you should have tried to stay in that mix and body block a Q from the cannon. Who knows? Because Piglet's only 8 seconds away at that point. So if they could have stalled it out just a little bit longer and let Piglet stay alive, maybe they shouldn't have tried to Q onto Fallen Bandit when the cannon was low HP. They could have stuck more under their turret. I don't know. There's a million.
That had to be the biggest roller coaster of emotions for both teams. CLG going from winning the whole game to thinking you're about to lose, and then Clutch saying, "Oh wait, we win. Oh wait, we lose." I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's a game you're going to look back on, and there's going to be a million things you could have done better in the closing moments to maybe win your team the game or defend or stall out. But at the same time, you're also looking at like a 1 in 1 million moment and trying to optimize it. Like, how much value?
Let's optimize this thing that should probably never happen.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think CLG, you 2-0'd the week. You're happy.
This is like a basketball player. How could I have made that half-court shot?
Yeah, go get a milkshake. All right, don't read too much into that game. Great win.
And it came from Wiggly in the top. Let's go back. Let's rewind past the Fiesta at the beginning, and let's look at the beginning of the game where Wiggly's Camille just set up shop top lane.
And it's a really good strategy, all things considered. They counter-pick the top lane with the Kennen, and very early on they attack it. Level 2, the level 1 Aatrox did not have any mobility spells, couldn't get out, it gets punished, and then they keep repeat ganking him. They killed him again, and then the minion wave bounces off the turret that he couldn't TP back to, and so it goes back into Kennen side, and then that timing, a very exposed Aatrox gets killed for a third time, and then like we were saying, Fallen Bandit did a really good job roaming around the map and extending that lead to other places, not keeping it on an island for himself to get 2 kills. But Clutch Gaming was doing a good job all game. Considering how terribly the early game went, you saw them make plays to try and defend their mid lane turret. They were able to grab Drakes and things like that. They took the bot lane turret. So they were doing things pretty well to try and stay in the game.
But the big moment where CLG translated that early lead into mid-game power was this 24-minute ace that they got in the top lane. The first time Fallen Bandit died this game.
Yeah, and this is just a mistake after things started to stabilize for Clutch Gaming. They just got an Infernal Drake in a wacky situation, and then their solo laners just walked too far up. They're just not quite being careful. Max Trobo finishes his TP to stop it from just being a 1-for-0. Piglet and Vulcan try and make a big play here. If they can clean up a couple of these kills, they might be able to stop the Baron from going down. They get one. And Fallen Bandits does enough to set up the rest of his team to clean these up. And as long as the Kai'Sa's alive, you probably have enough Baron damage. So it was a good idea by Clutch Gaming. Didn't stop the Baron from going down. But even after that, it's not like that Baron was the end of the game. They grabbed a bunch more turrets, but they never cracked an inhibitor. And so it led to this kind of continued stall out where both teams started making minor mistakes.
You've used the word wacky a couple of times,
Wacky.
Mark, and I think that's the word that I'm going to use for the ending of this game. I think that's about as on the dot as we can get for how this game concluded, considering it looked so good and so clean for so long for CLG. You can see the goal difference over time. Even those couple of spikes that it takes up towards the end, it was still never in Clutch Gaming's favor. It was always a CLG favored game from the onset. But just the fact that Clutch was able to fight back the way they were the entire time around that Piglet win condition that we kept bringing up, and he was having such a good performance. So close, but still so far.
And one thing I'll say about this game and its meta implications is hopefully it shows that we're going to get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Crazy comps, crazy stuff happening, but with the ability to come back. Because that was always the problem on 8-11 and things like that, was when someone got a lead like you saw CLG have, it was over. There was no coming back from that. But this time, Clutch Gaming were 2 seconds away from winning this game. It was very impressive to see, and I hope games stay like this on this patch.
I hope the same thing, too. We are now 2 games down on the day, but we are just getting started. Coming up next, we'll see FlyQuest Academy take on TSM Academy. Don't you go anywhere. Tuesday in some trouble, going to be throwing out the ultimate, but here comes your Wombo combo. Fallen Bandit finds the ultimate onto all 4 members. Sun having to get himself away. And Wiggly now going to be in some trouble, has to go unstoppable, issue the ultimatum just to buy a little bit of time. Fallen Bandit wants to go into the middle of the mix right here, right now. CLG Academy still making this fight go their way. It's a 3 versus 2. Sun's still alive, Moon's still alive. Not for long, it's a triple for Tuesday, and he's looking to make it number 4. Fallen Bandit in the back line, looking to grab the damage down onto Piglet instead. He won't quite find it, forced to use the zone. Use Max Trobo, tearing through the CLG line. Otto may still be able to save this game. Moon putting a lot of damage. Down onto the Nexus, but
Oh my God!
Trobo has to try to make this one work. He's going to be stunned up front, down before he gets enough blood in the well for the passive to proc.